Hey, I know, Zeus. We could talk about how our Thanksgiving was. Did you
Uh,
have an exciting Thanksgiving?
you want me to give you the rundown?
Yeah, man. I'll give you my rundown. It was
Okay.
exciting. Oh man.
So tonight we are going to talk about, and I think this is maybe the most ironically topical episode that we've had because we're going to talk about the Daniel Penny, right?
Penny.
Yeah, the Daniel Penny case. And we also wanted to later on just our views, which is not probably going to be very surprising to anybody. We wanted to talk about the Hunter Biden pardon that Joe Biden said he was never going to do.
Hmm.
He was going to
I mean,
leave it to the
I'm
courts.
I'm still
But
shocked. I can't
I'm
believe
blown away.
never saw it coming
I'm
at
shocked.
all.
That's the thing. I'm sad because I'm not shocked.
Yeah.
Um, so anyway, to get things started, who wants to talk about the case
I
first?
well, one thing I would say because I'd love I was about to say Penny. I'd like Desiree to do it because one, I've only read a little bit, but I think
Got a
it would,
slant.
and Desiree normally does this anyway, but like just give our viewer like
A
a breakdown on
synopsis.
what's going on because this is pretty timely, right?
Okay.
Right, it's
So
literally happening right now.
when did this happen? I don't remember when this occurred.
May of 2023.
Okay, so last May, our friend Daniel Penny gets on the subway in New York City. Okay. Have you ever been in New York City? Been
Oh
on a
yeah,
subway?
yeah. I think it
It's
was the
crazy.
Anytime
F,
subways,
it was
yeah.
the F train. Yeah,
Yeah,
It's
the F
about fucking shady.
it
um
can be.
it
Yeah,
can be. It depends on, how late you get on and
It's not like the
which train you
DC
take
metro
and
where everything's like crisp and clean and well
I don't know.
policed.
I've always had a pleasant experience on the New York Metro, but New York subway. But whatever. What do I know?
it's very similar. Well, I don't want to say similar, but it doesn't remind me of the BART, but the BART is a San
Hmm.
Francisco's. But
Bay
because the
Area
BART's
Rapid
not like
Transit.
underground, it's above ground, but and you can really only gather at the station. So it's not as crazy and not as wild, and homeless people aren't sleeping in in the BART like they are in the subway
Hmm.
station, but it's a crazy place. Anyway, so our friend Daniel Penny here was getting on he was on the train
He was already
and
on the train.
he was on the F and this guy comes in, Jordan
McNeely.
Neely, gets on the train and he is just acting a fool, showing his ass, talking about he is so hungry, he is going to kill somebody, like, and he is ravenous, like he's going to kill somebody, and he's acting crazy, he's doing all sorts of things, like looking back at the situation, it's probably it seems like maybe he was having like he was a schizophrenic and there
He
was
was
some mental health going on there and he was just, just have an episode. But you can't just get on regardless of your mental health, you can't just get on the F train and be telling people you're gonna kill them.
Yeah, in the moment, no one was privy to any of that.
Well, right, yeah. And I mean, in your lizard brain, you got to think, okay, is this person really going to kill me or is this person experiencing a mental health episode?
Right.
My lizard brain is going to say, let me not get killed.
Yeah.
Okay. So, the hero, Daniel Penny, takes this guy out. Okay. He like grabs him, puts him in a chokehold till the cops get there.
Right. So he didn't.
6 minutes.
He put
Sleep
him in
hold,
a choke. Okay. So
sleep
he
hold,
subdued
chokehold.
him.
Yeah.
Here's.
He
Yeah.
restrained him from
Right.
killing folks or whatever he was saying he was going to do. All sorts of crazy stuff. Um, And then by the time I'm assuming they probably got to the next stop, and then the police came onto the train, and dude was dead. They initiated CPR. They despite their best efforts, they were unable to revive him.
I did. So
Um,
did he? I heard not to jump, but I heard that he was still alive, or that he had a pulse. But I don't think he regained consciousness though.
It was probably thready at best.
it maybe potentially, but they ended up it doesn't
Yeah.
whether he
I
had
didn't
one on
know.
upon arrival or not. They did
Yeah.
lose one, and they did do CPR. They
They
try to
didn't
revive
take
him
him
on
out and
scene.
then he died later. Like he died on the train or in the station, I would assume.
At the scene, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and To Daniel Penny's credit,
Also, I don't know how long the time period. Sorry, Zeus. I don't know how long the time period between initial initiation of chokehold and stoppage of train were. We don't
well,
know.
they this much I know. They said that he was probably in the chokehold approximately 6 minutes.
Okay.
Which, okay, overboard, sure, but
Well, was he
but
still fighting?
Ye- pro-
I don't know. I
No.
mean, we don't know.
There
But
is some phone videos out there that kind of show him in this choker hold, but he's kind of like, snaking around his feet, trying to break free.
yeah,
But
well, but to his benefit, they had like instantaneous like interviews with the people on the train and him, and he vocalized that he did not mean to do any harm to this guy. He was just handling the situation. And first of all, we also have to mention that that Jordan Neely was also on K2 at the time.
well, we
But
don't. We can do that in a second. We can talk
Well, I
about
mean,
the. This is just we could talk about attributing factors in a minute.
no one knew
That was
that.
just
but
the
but he said that he didn't mean any harm, and all the people being interviewed was like, it was fucking crazy. Someone I think said uh they that they almost shit themselves. Like there was like
yeah.
real honest
For multiple
response.
people. I mean, there was multiple people that had said they were scared.
Tons of them.
And it's not like he just like came in and said one off thing and then this dude just took him out. Like people it was getting to a point where people were scared. So he took care
Yeah,
of business.
I think. I mean, I'm gonna before we get into it further, knowing what I know about it, I think the guy's a hero. Could it have been handled differently? Sure, but he's also he's military trained. Fight or flight. They just work on a different level than we do, or same level but different job category. You know what I mean? Like I in that situation would have probably done something similar. I don't think I would have done a chokehold. I would have. There's one that they teach you, and it's called, oh shit, what's it called? CPI. It's one of our like self defense things.
Mm.
There's this one move where you wrap your body around one arm, and then you bury your head where that arm is. Thank you. Where that arm is, the held arm is, and you hold your chin against it, so this arm can't get back to hit you.
Mm.
That's probably what I would do, but I'm also 6'2", 220. I'm bigger than most people. Not
But
every person, but I would have done that. But this guy, again, he's military trained. He's like, get shit done. And
well,
23, that's the thing. That's where judgment also comes in, is he's 23. Even if he was in for 4 years, he's 23.
yeah.
23-year-olds are stupid.
Well, he again. I'm going to ask questions from a position of ignorance of this case because I don't know more than I know about it. But was there any explicit um action by Neely aggressive towards anyone other
Oh
than
yeah.
vocalization? I mean, was he like punching or about to, or I mean, or was it
He
just
literally said he
vocal?
was going to kill people.
No, but that's just vocal. I'm talking about an explicit action.
I
Because
don't know.
to me, if he just was talking and screaming, okay, I could see having a case on this. Not
But how
again,
long do you sit and wait with
no,
someone?
that's what I'm saying. But I could see having a case. But if there was any aggressive action taken, you can't wait around. I mean, he could have had a gun, he could have had a knife. I mean, who knows? And the thing is, the way I look at it is this guy, Penny, and any other people, the regular citizen is not a police officer.
We're
The
prepared for
vast
that.
majority of people are not trained on de-escalation and all this stuff. So if you're in in a train car where you cannot get out, it is moving and it is tight. I mean, again, police officers are taught if someone has a knife, a kitchen knife, and they're within 20 feet of you, that's that you are in serious risk of death. Like you can fire at that person. from 20 feet. So you're in this train car that's what, 60 feet long
Mhm.
total? And as an individual citizen, I don't understand how a court could say, well, did you wait for him to come? Did you wait for that? Was this, did you try that? Like, because we're not trained for that. I see how they do that with a cop because cops are trained for that. But if this
And
guy made any aggressive motion towards anyone,
and
I don't
and
even
don't
understand how this is in a court right now.
don't get me wrong, I'm not indicting him. I'm simply bringing
Yeah,
up factors that you have to
Well,
consider. He's 23.
he's 23.
I've
Right,
done some really stupid shit. It was right around that age range. But and I was ex-military, you
right.
know, and I'm basing what I would do on my present day training. You know what I mean?
Have
So,
most of the people on
s-
the train backed him up, or are there
so this
oh
people?
is
yeah.
what this is what this article says.
Did he have a
Jurors, huh?
did he have a weapon?
I don't think so.
I don't
Okay.
think
Jurors
so.
heard from multiple passengers who witnessed the incident, many describing feeling terrified after nearly boarded the F train they were riding on Monday afternoon at Second Avenue. They started screaming when the doors, or sorry, he started screaming when the doors closed about wanting something to eat and not caring whether he died or went to jail.
Or built it.
Nobody accused Neely of touching them or directing threats at anyone specific when Penny took him down from behind in a chokehold that began when the train was in motion and lasted for nearly 6 minutes. The incident was largely captured on cell phone footage and played throughout the trial. Neely was not armed and had nothing in his pockets but a muffin. Bitch, eat the muffin then.
That
They also
muffin's gonna
heard
save your fucking
the
life.
muffin. They also
A
heard, and
nice
why are you
muffin.
going to put a muffin in your pocket? That's going to smush. They also heard from passengers who said Neely's outbursts resembled the behavior of other people they witnessed on trains before appearing to suffer from mental illness, and from witnesses who were present when Penny continued to subdue Neely. One man who helped Penny, said he advised him to let go of his grip on Neely's neck to no avail.
Oh, so someone did try to stop him.
In like some videos I've seen, it's not like they tried to stop him. They tried to like Penny was like on doing the chokehold, and I think like a couple other one dude or two other people were like kind of like holding his legs in a way,
Hmm. Hmm.
kind of helping the
Yeah.
situation, helping subdue him, helping hold him down.
If I may, interrupt for 1 second. This is what's bothering me about this story. Because the first thing that I wanted to check when I was doing research on it was his military service record. And like literally nothing in the top few pages. And this is what bothers me about that. That sure as fuck feels like curated information.
Meaning
What?
Meaning whoever is behind the searches, let's just say Google, um,
aren't
was
letting that
leaning
out.
towards the well, we don't want his military record because it's going to show it spotless. He was a great soldier. Da 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 da. It felt curated. It felt like pointing towards the negative rather than the positives. Like I don't even know what rank he was.
I think this kind of
Doesn't it seem
story,
weird that you wouldn't at least
yeah, you would think that
rank
would be
he
like
was?
front and center, right? You think that you would at least say if they're going to mention he's a Marine, which they do all the time, it
Yeah,
should be like a Marine who had a sketchy record and was dishonorably discharged, or a Marine who had a stellar record and
but absent
retired with.
information allows people to speculate. And
But
in
I'm
the
saying, but normally when they talk about people that used to be in the military, they will say they will give a little mention of what their record was. And it's odd that they
very
don't with
Well,
him.
here's a little background on them, not like what rank he was or anything, but I mean, really, is that important?
Well, no, just his record as far
sure
as
if he
discipline.
was violent in the military,
Yeah, if was he a hothead? Did he get in trouble? Was
sure.
Oh,
he
I thought you said his rank.
no record? His
Rank, I
record.
mean,
Oh.
no, rank shows experience, it shows accreditation for your behaviors.
Well,
There,
rank, you were in for 4 years. You're out now. I mean,
Yeah,
you can't have that high of a rank.
no,
yeah, but if you make sergeant in 4 years, that's a
Then you'd
really
probably
good.
still be in. That's what
you'd
I'm
probably
saying.
still be in.
So it says Penny, who served in the Marines for 4 years, was studying architecture and working as a barback in Brooklyn at the time of the incident, and was on the train that day headed to the gym. Jurors have heard that he grew up in a tight-knit family and community, getting good grades in high school, where he played upright bass with the school orchestra and was on the
Nice,
lacrosse team.
nice.
Neely was a homeless man in
Cross is a
Denver.
violent sport.
and dealing with drug addiction, mental illness, and multiple brushes with the law in the years before his death. His family says that he was derailed by his mother's murder when he was 14. When
Jeez.
he was when he was stable, he became a familiar face to many New Yorkers from his street performances emulating Michael Jackson. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Much better.
So, I don't know. There. So I don't remember exactly how this went, but I think that he got indicted. So they did the autopsy on Jordan, and he was indicted because for murder, second degree
11
murder.
days
Second degree
later.
murder, yes.
Yeah, because so that was after the autopsy. So they had said that during his first autopsy that his cause of death was asphyxiation.
Didn't
Jeez.
another doctor come
Hold
along?
on, yeah, I'm trying to get pulled up. So that's why he was indicted. However, during the trial, um, there was a different like medical examiner or something. Um, and hold on, let me see who exactly this is. So this she didn't actually view the body or anything, but this was like a I don't want to say like maybe expert witness, maybe we'll just say that.
After the
Um,
fact.
after the fact, like almost a year or so after the fact, but she reviewed that it was another forensic pathologist that reviewed the record, and it said that she said in trial her testimony was Daniel Penny's chokehold of Jordan Neely isn't what killed the homeless man. He died from combined effects of synthetic marijuana, schizophrenia, and other factors. The forensic mm, I hate when that happens. So yeah, they were like questioning her. Do you think no? So this other expert witness believes that this is not that his death was more attributed to drugs in his system, basically.
Yeah, at least they should put up a shadow of doubt. More than a shadow of doubt. I'd say an
I mean,
ominous cloud of doubt.
I mean, I've got so many questions. Like, how did Neely get onto the subway car, right? Is there any security? I mean, if this guy's
Now,
acting out like that,
when's
the
the
other
last time you
thing,
were on a New York subway?
I'm sorry,
When was the last time you were on a New York subway? It's
it's been a
scary.
few years. Yeah, it's been a few years.
Like you
But
get spoiled in DC. DC is a safe ass subway system.
no, it is. It is.
I
Um,
mean, you get people that come on and perform, but they're performing. They're not
Okay,
acting.
more on that. So he also pointed out that there were discrepancies in the medical record, the autopsy record, specifically bruising on the neck, and how there was almost negligible petechiae. So petechiae is what you get in your like it's in your face, and what's happening is the little capillaries in your face are bursting, so you get like these little red, like a lot of real red dots all over your face.
oh wow.
Petechiae. Um, and but, there was almost negligible petechiae found on his eyelids that this person
Which does
claimed
not
that
lend
were
to.
inconsistent with fatal chokehold. When
Yeah,
you get strangled, you have petechiae. Like it is because you can't breathe. Like it's like you're first of all you're cutting off all any type of blood flow. First, so that's why they're bursting in your face.
because they're
There's a
trying to
lot
get
of
to the
I
brain.
mean, there's your heart's right here, or is chucking that blood, up
Trying
there
to keep you alive.
and then it can't and it can't go anywhere. It's just bursting in your face. I mean, there's a lot of
Jeez.
petechiae. And he
It's
said it's
almost like
almost
a
negligible.
bunch of mini aneurysms.
Eyelid petechiae is pretty common, just like I don't know, from rubbing your eyes, from being tired. Like there's other ways you get that.
Yeah.
Being weird and like, have you ever bursted a blood vessel in your eye?
But are you saying that Neely was not showing
He
this?
did not. He had the
It was showing
petechiae
it,
found
but
on his
not.
face was inconsistent with
Yeah.
fatal strangulation or
Wow.
asphyxia.
Like
That's what
if
this other
you
person
if
said.
you are choked to death, it's gonna look like you're gonna have black eyes almost, for lack of a better description. You're gonna have a bunch of little tiny, tiny, tiny blood vessels all around your eye.
All over your face. I
Yeah.
mean, it's everywhere.
Yeah, it's gonna be noticeable. Because again, like I said, think of it like like mini strokes, but on your face. Like the blood doesn't have anywhere to go, so it just bursts in these little capillaries.
That are fragile, right? For that
Yes,
amount of
yes.
pressure.
Yeah, they're tiny, yeah.
And
So with it also says when the other the like contributing factors to his death was sickle cell anemia. I don't really know
How is that a
why that
contributing
would be.
Well,
Well,
factor?
okay,
because if you
I'm gonna go pain, K2, schizophrenia, maybe malnourished.
they
It's
had
kind
said
of a perfect storm for a fucking psychotic break.
it did say on there too that that I guess which I don't think I've never heard of this. Zeus, correct me if I'm wrong, but there one note on the where it says combined factors of schizophrenia,
I don't like that part.
synthetic marijuana use, K2 or
K2.
whatever.
Yeah.
Um something else, the struggle and schizophrenia. Schizophrenia has a increased it carries a increased risk of sudden cardiac death. Have you ever heard of that?
No, that's
I've never heard of that either.
But
uh,
wouldn't they be able to see in the
schizophrenia
autopsy
in a
if it was a
nutshell.
cardiac, if it was a heart attack, or I mean, did they check for like heart attack, or is it?
Well,
I'm
hold on. Heart attack and sudden cardiac death are very different things.
that's what I'm saying.
So,
Did yeah?
I mean, if it
To
was
answer
sudden
your
cardiac death,
question,
you wouldn't be able to if you not really, not necessarily,
Oh, okay.
so here's
not
here's
all
to
the time.
your question, Desiree. It is my observation, and I'm sure that if we looked up journal articles that this would be supported. It tends to be with all the mental health patients that I've ever had, they always have some kind of comorbidity, be it diabetes or high blood pressure. And this could be a naturally occurring thing. Probably more likely it's the medications that they're on, but this guy clearly was not on his medication.
I think
So
it's just
how
combined the
long?
fact of the medication and like the socioeconomic factors that attribute to
Yeah,
poor
yeah.
health. So,
So
you know what I just did think of? I don't know what meds this guy was on, if he was on any, but you know, a lot of those medications, they really affect your QTC, that,
yes, well,
yeah,
not a lot of them. The one that they talk about the most is Zyprexa. Like Zyprexa is also called olanzapine.
right.
It's an antipsychotic.
Or like Geodon or something like that. Yeah,
Well,
antipsychotics will do it.
And
Geodon's your heavy hitter. That's
do
like
what? You
going
guys are do what?
So
What do?
your QTC interval is the interval between your
blood
heart,
coming
like
in,
your
blood coming out.
Q and your T.
Yeah,
Like the conduction in your heart, like each like conduction that happens is what makes those little
Hmm.
on your tracing. So
Right.
if you have a, a long QT interval, then what can happen is your heart you can get it so long to where your heart does block out. I did
Wow.
just think of that. So I don't know if and it does. I haven't found anything that said like he was on Zyprexa or if he was on
yeah.
any
The only
type
one
of.
I ever hear about is Zyprexa. Like
But I mean, I
blood
feel like if you
delivery.
were on Zyprexa, maybe you wouldn't be getting on the F train talking about you're so hungry you wanted to go to jail and kill
Right.
people.
That's the argument there. Here's the interesting thing about schizophrenia, and probably Desiree, you're probably privy to this a little bit, but so schizophrenia, if you look at like the top of your brain and the bottom of your brain, like funnels, right? So schizophrenia is actually like a deterioration of the brain. You can see it on a brain scan.
Hmm.
The interesting thing about it is Parkinson's is on the
Did your
front.
shirt say adult psych?
Yes, it does. And it says,
Nurses.
"There's
That's cute.
Zeus." They got it for me for my birthday.
Oh, that's cute.
I
I would
know.
have put Zucifer on your sleeve, but
Zucifer.
I wanted to go with White Dog. I'll tell you guys about that story
mm,
someday.
Oh,
But so schizophrenia and Parkinson's, they're both deteriorations of the brains, but they're on different parts of the brains. But it's like two funnels touching each other. This doesn't really apply to this, but the thing about schizophrenia is, like I said, and Parkinson's always come with comorbidities,
yeah.
diabetes,
But
heart
you would,
rate.
and I know that. I mean, because like I said,
So
I
I mean,
think that it's more the socioeconomic factors in this. Because if you're schizophrenic, the likelihood of you holding a really high paying job and being able to afford really healthy food and all those things is it kind of plays into it.
unlike
But I would think that I would think, but I would think that they would maybe write that a little bit better than schizophrenia carries an increased risk
that's what I feel like
sudden cardiac death,
you're
or schizophrenia, a mental health disease, a mental health problem, is attributed to a death that didn't have anything to do with
it's
yeah,
your
that
you
sounded weird to
self-inflicting it.
me. And
it's
I
I
just
don't know
think it's a
anything.
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a stupid thing to say, and that's why
It
another
is
reason why I feel
dumb.
like everything was curated.
Yeah,
Like,
because I mean, maybe your behavior because of the schizophrenia could attribute to whatever the things you're
but not the
doing, but
schizophrenia
not the
itself.
schizophrenia itself, you
I
know?
mean,
and a commonly understated thing is you don't die from fear, you don't die from pain. So those are you just don't. You don't have you see all these movies where the person has a heart attack when they're scared. Never happens. It doesn't.
It does.
Well, with high blood pressure, sure. I can see that, but generally speaking, you don't die from fear, you don't die from pain. Um, I mean, yes, there are isolated incidents, but would you say that it's a massive amount of people that
And I wouldn't say, but there is one thing. This is just a fun fact. If you get like if you're a lot of times this is called the broken heart disease, the broken heart syndrome, like or a death, like a very like your husband of 87 years, or like sometimes the people at like a surprise party get really like surprised and scared. Or so severe scaredness and severe sadness, you can throw yourself into something called Takotsubo's cardiomyopathy, and it's a sudden instant
nice.
onset of heart failure. Instant.
wow.
But it's
Yeah,
heart failure, it's not heart attack or instant death. I mean, but that's really, you could die from heart failure, but
yeah, but I think more commonly, I think a lot of people are under this misunderstanding of it. Like, generally speaking, you don't die from fear,
right.
and even more proven to be not right is you don't
You
die
die
from
from
pain.
pain. Mm.
You
Hmm.
don't die from pain.
That's
You
good to
can
know.
be in people get bitten by bullet ants. Bullet ants are supposed to be one of the worst pains you can have. Like, legitimately.
I've seen
Listen,
those ants before.
yeah, they say that you are in pain for like a day and it affects your whole body.
They
You
bite
can't
you?
down, it hurts.
Yeah,
What?
dude, they're like fire ants on steroids, and every single one. Like, ugh.
Yeah.
Wow.
But there's also in some of these cultures in the Amazon, one of the rites of passage. It's interesting. I'll go
It's
through it
get
as
bit
quickly
by
as
a bullet.
possible. They put bullet ants into these gloves,
Mm.
and then
It's
the
like
guy
Flash
puts
Gordon.
the ants in,
Yeah.
right? And they just get bitten by them. But there is the aspect that they've been living around these and they've probably been bitten by them before.
Hmm.
So you build up a tolerance for that.
I got
Um,
stung by a wasp once.
Wasp is nothing. I got stung by a hornet right there. That
I
fuck.
also got stung by a jellyfish once.
By what?
Jellyfish.
I got
Not great either.
thwapped by a ray, and it drew
Oh
blood
yeah?
on my leg. Yeah, the little
Didn't
spiny
Steve Irwin
tail.
you?
What?
Didn't
They're
it
No,
didn't do
crazy
you like
no,
Steve
it didn't.
Irwin?
It didn't.
Oh.
Steve Irwin. I stepped
Crikey!
on it. I
Well,
stepped on it in the surf in
well, you the
Florida.
fucking why you stepping on it and shit.
'Cause I didn't see it.
Damn.
It was
Rude.
brown.
Well,
You're
that's
Yeah.
rude.
why that's what the
You're rude.
wasp did.
Teaching
The
a
wasp
lesson.
I sat on the wasp and he got my ass. Literally.
Well, here's a couple things. I mean, besides the medical part of this that I find interesting in this story, there's a couple angles. One is it totally plays into the current, I'm going to say zeitgeist, but it plays into a lot of stuff that's going on in our society, and that is people in general. I mean, whatever political angle you're coming from, people feel things are like out of control, or they certainly did a year and a half ago. The whole thing with, defund the police and this adversarial relationship between police and communities that people have been dealing with or communities have been dealing with. And this guy, he didn't get on the train. Say what you want. He didn't get on the train like, oh man, I'm gonna go kill someone today. But that being said, 6 minutes is a long time to be
That is the
holding
only part that
somebody.
bothers me about
And
this. The
I mean,
six.
a minute is a long time. And so but the thing that everyone has to remember, and I have to remember, because I'm like taking this apart year and a half later, I've been thinking about it, whatever. This guy's like, oh man, look, I'm going to eat this Dorito. And this guy comes on the train, I'm going to kill everybody. Like, I mean, everything happened like this. It's not like you get to sit back. I would love someone to explain to me if they are thinking that Penny, and there's a lot of protesters up there that are wanting him to be found guilty.
Well, because here's the narrative. Privileged white guy
Right.
murders
Yeah.
homeless black man on the train.
It's
That's
a
the
perfect
narrative.
it's a perfect story for our alphabet media.
And we have the
But what
benefit.
should he have done?
Here's
I haven't heard
Sat
anyone
back
say.
and been, yeah, and watch maybe somebody get hurt. I don't by this crazed individual on the
Yeah,
fucking F train.
here's yeah. I think this is the most important thing to take away from this is he had minutes to react, and we've had
seconds.
a year to
Right.
respond to his reaction. Um, I'm gonna get on my high horse and talk mental health. Like, do I think this guy should have died? No.
Absolutely not.
But there are certain cases where I feel like Eric Klebold, Dylan Klebold, Eric Harris, Columbine shooters, were they mentally fucking damaged? Obviously. Do I for a second think that they shouldn't have had two in the back of their head by the end of that day? Not at all. 100%. There is a point, and I firmly believe this, and I truly do love mental health patients. I love the work that I do. I mean, fuck, I'm wearing a, I care about these people, and no, and my one thing when I have a nurse that I'm working with, and they're like, "That guy's an asshole," or "fucking disgusting," I'm like, do you think for a second that anybody wants to
Y-
wake up and be batshit fucking crazy?
And and Neely, I don't think Neely
Do,
got
then
on that
you're a
train.
fucking animal.
And
First,
but what I'm saying is I doubt. I mean, this is just a
well,
guess.
allow me to get to my
Yeah.
point. My point is if it was him dying or a mother and child and two other people dying on that train because he had a break, he dies every time.
Mm.
And I also firmly believe that yes, you are mentally infirm. You do make bad decisions, but if the bad decisions that you make are violent and volatile and outward and all that, maybe you're broken beyond care. Now, my job is to care for those people, even if they do that, and I
But
do.
but it's not the job of the people in the New York subway car.
Exactly. And that's where it comes that's where it comes to it.
I know that's the sad
I
reality. I
wish
mean,
this Do I want this guy to die? No. I wish
absolutely
both of
not.
them walked away from it. One with a sore throat and some petechia in their eyes, but I would rather hear that they both lived. Everybody had a weird experience on the subway, but life moved on, and this guy wasn't dead, and this guy isn't being indicted for, in my personal opinion, being a hero. Maybe a little overzealous, if we want to go that way. Sure, I can. You got an argument for
But
overzealous,
15
but
years. They're looking to put this guy away for 15 years, man. I mean, that
so
is it. I don't care where you fall in this. That is a miscarriage of justice, man. I mean, this is such a gray area. Anyone that comes out and says Neely's definitely he's 100% wrong. He should go to jail for. I'm
personally,
like, can you explain that to me? Can someone explain that perspective to me? Because I don't understand it.
All
my
right, hold on. Let's
feeling
just
is he's
I
never
have
going to
the
see
video
it.
up
I mean, that's what the
and
prosecutor's saying. The New York
say that
prosecutor.
allow me to share the screen so I can show you this video
Oh.
because I
Yep,
found one.
yep, yep, yep. Oh, I get to do something. Hold on.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Let's see. Share. Okay, you should be allowed to. But yeah, I mean, while Desiree's pulling that up, I don't think Neely got on that train
No, he was
looking for that. He wasn't
going to
looking
work
for
in a
that.
bar or architectural school.
No, I'm talking about
Okay,
Neely.
here we go.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna come on. Do you want the volume on or?
Yeah, sure. Oh, yeah,
Okay, here he
started
is.
over.
There he is.
So there are other people there. He's kicking. So Neely is in the jeans. Is that correct?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
would
he's
think
in the jeans.
And
he's
and
got his legs wrapped around the.
Penny's in the black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And look, Penny, he's a tall guy, but
So,
he's not a big guy either. He's a pretty slight guy.
I mean, that's not much of a video, but I mean, it's really
Here's the thing
look at
that
that chick in the background recording.
here's the thing that I thought about too. Look, there's two people there. They look like they're helping. But I mean, wouldn't it been a great time to have a pair of handcuffs and you could just cuff the dude to one of the bars and everyone back off to like one side of the train? Or search
Or
this
zip
guy's
ties.
pockets and like see if he's carrying anything, or pull his pants off so you don't have to stick your hands in his pockets.
Oh,
I
then
mean,
it'd be a molestation case.
well, I'm just saying, it seems in 6 minutes. I mean, that is such a long time, man.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
I
to be
don't
sitting
see
there,
if,
Well,
but
it's
do you
definitely a
see how
long
he's
time to go
fighting?
without air.
he's
He's
fighting
got
there.
air. He's got air. He
Yeah,
has hair. He can breathe because he's making all those fighting motions.
Yeah,
but
that's
I
in
don't know where if
6 minutes,
that's
but
minute
5 minutes down
one
the
or
road.
minute five.
Yeah, I don't either, but I mean, you can okay, if this is a 6 minute ride, let's just say he fought for 2 minutes. That's 4 minutes. That is you can very much go with that because even once you go with that oxygen, it takes a minute for your heart to then stop.
And
So
even
you could
then,
have very
you've
well
got,
been resuscitated
yeah,
easily after if it was just a respiratory reason, your
yeah.
heart is very you can that's like one of the good
Yeah.
parts like when
Here's
people get resuscitated
here's
from
something
CPR
you
because
probably
it
don't
can their
or
heart
never,
can come back in good with some
yeah.
oxygen.
Here's something you're
So,
probably not aware of, Mike, but
Yeah.
one of the things with CPR is, yeah, you're blowing oxygen, but the more important is the chest compressions
mhm.
because you've still got oxygen in your blood vessels. You've got like 5 minutes of life
Yeah, so as
just
long as
based
that blood flow is
on,
flowing,
on chest compressions.
yeah.
Even if the breath, oh yeah,
What if
because
the
you're
breast didn't
exchanging
work?
air. But yeah, you're
Yeah.
moving the blood around.
Well, yeah,
Yeah, you're
well,
circulating the blood.
yeah, you got that much oxygen. I think it's like 5 minutes, 6 minutes that you can still survive. Like your brain won't start to be damaged.
Right.
It's like
Well,
5 or 6 minutes
I
of chest compressions, which again, like you said, that's a long time.
man, that's
There's
such a
a
long time.
that
I
well,
can't believe other people on the train didn't come over. Like, could they just pinned them down like the
yeah, if they were all brave and not
Lilliputians?
terrified.
Right. And so I think one of the people that was had said in this article that I read that one of the people that was helping out like had told Daniel like, hey, maybe like let up a little bit.
Oh, they
He
did,
didn't.
and he didn't. Oh, I mean, the guy didn't ask
No.
him that?
No, the guy had said that to him. Hey, maybe let
Oh,
up a little bit because they were all there too and like hold those two other dudes were there like holding his legs and stuff.
man. Yeah, I mean
So
it. I'm just saying it is a. There's just so much wrong with this situation. I mean, again, I don't. To go to the other perspective, this 23-year-old, now 24 and a half year old, going to jail for 15 years on this that is a miscarriage of
and what's he
justice.
charged with?
Oh wait, I've got this up here. I actually brought this up. Daniel Penny. Okay, so here is the verdict
Okay.
sheet. Okay.
Okay.
This
Second degree manslaughter and criminally negligent homicide.
Yeah, and the directions by the judge are thus. This is what was delivered to the jury today, I believe. So it says count one, manslaughter in the second degree. If you find the defendant guilty on count one, manslaughter in the second degree, then do not consider and do not render a verdict on count two. Count two is criminally negligent homicide.
Hmm.
If you find the defendant not guilty of count one, for the reason that the people have failed to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant was not justified, then you cannot consider count two. If you find the defendant not guilty on count one for some reason other than the lack of justification, then proceed and consider and render a verdict on count two, criminally negligent homicide. So yeah, he can't be charged. He can't get both. It's
Right. It's one
basically
or the other,
it's one or the other,
or
or
none.
none, or none. Um,
So here's the thing. So that I kind of thought for some reason that they actually charged him with second degree murder.
yeah, that would seem to be a stretch.
So, so I mean, okay, so let's just break this down from the non-lawyer that I am standpoint. Okay.
Mhm.
The non-attorney over here.
Right.
Jack ain't here. We can't have him do
I
it, but
know, man. Come
why?
on, man.
Okay, so this guy, okay, just facts of the case. Guy gets on the train, is not armed, does not make any advances towards anybody. However, there's multiple people visibly and admittedly in fear of their safety. Okay. Do you don't have to have a weapon to kill somebody? Honestly, like you don't. You can do that with your bare
Yeah.
hands. You can just start wailing on somebody. You could hurt somebody
Lethal
very
weapons.
badly. You could
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
kind of
man.
kick them in the face. Like you can do a lot of things, and I don't know who was on that train. I don't know if there were children on the train. I didn't
That's a
mention
whole
any,
other
but
thing. Yeah.
they don't need to be watching this fucking crazy ass be taking like just doing stuff. So there were all those factors, but he was not armed. He did not hurt anybody. Okay, so then Daniel
Yeah.
Penny comes in, takes him down. I should be waiting on Zeus on this one, but whatever.
It's all right.
Daniel Penny comes in, puts him in a chokehold because in his mind he is defending the folks on the train. Hey, this guy's crazy. I don't want him doing anything, so I'm going to restrain him from doing so.
And no one else on the train was hurt.
Nobody, no, it
I'm
was
just
just him.
saying it
They didn't
worked.
get into a fight. He just came up behind him, boom,
Right.
chokehold. Some people call it a sleeper hold, whatever.
Yeah.
He restrained the individual. Okay, then he gets him to the ground, where two other folks come in and help restrain him. There was one person that I guess maybe once they actually got him like where he wasn't wailing everywhere, maybe that was when that guy said, "Hey, maybe let up a little bit."
Hmm.
Daniel did not do so.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean
Wait, I don't have a
that's
time, but that's the
yeah.
part.
That's
That's the
pretty
part that's
damning.
like,
Yeah, that no, I agree. That's damning.
So then they get to the stop or whatever. Police, you come on. They also did say that it took 20 minutes for EMS to get there. So, but
Jeez.
that's not. But the difference is between the police
Zero
officers
gravity.
can do. Police officers did do the chest compressions. You don't need. There had somebody made this comment. I'm not going to say it's a stupid comment because a lot of people don't understand this. Just like how Zeus was saying earlier with the blood flow, like people don't understand this if you're lay people. The American Heart Association no longer even recommends rescue breaths for individuals in the field unless you have a bag valve mask or a shield. They do not
Because
The
because
because
of
of the
danger
risk
of
of
the other things,
just you're putting your
diseases.
mouth on an individual. And
Ugh.
not only that, but sometimes when you're doing these chest compressions, stuff can come out of your
Oh
oral
God.
cavity,
Yeah. Yeah.
whether that be vomit or blood. You don't need to be doing like you don't need that. And it has been proven, like what Zeus said, you don't you all you're doing
It's
if
the
you're a human,
compressions.
when you breathe out and get that rescue breath, you're breathing CO carbon
Right.
dioxide.
Yeah, yeah. So it's the pump,
So
it's the
you're not even doing anything.
compressions.
You're actually causing harm, to
And
be
that,
honest. But
like another little knowledge thing that people don't realize is, Mike, you took a CPR course at some point in your life, right?
Long time ago. Yeah.
So did they teach you to sweep the mouth?
Yes, you stick your finger in there.
You don't do that
Hmm.
because what happens is you can push it further down.
they only say that you should do that if you can actually see the thing and
Right.
you can pull it, but you don't do a sweep. You just pull it. Like
Even then, it's probably not well advised to
And
do.
this was learned from this of CPR being done thousands of times, hundreds, tens of
yeah, I mean,
thousands of
there's so many
times.
studies on CPR. Anyway, so they're
Don't.
so
Oh,
then, but the thing about the CPR and the that to me, from my experience, is this: if after 6 minutes, and it wasn't even 6 minutes, let's just say 4 minutes. So let's just say he lost a pulse at 4 minutes. I'm gonna say maybe not, maybe it was 2 or 3 minutes, but whatever. So if you go 4 minutes without oxygen and with your heart not beating, and the reason that your heart stopped was because of a lack of oxygen and blood flow to the muscle, then that is a very easy, that's a good situation for you because that's an easy heart to restart
yeah,
with
I'm
chest
saying you always
compressions.
hear people who, my heart stopped for 10
I don't want
minutes
to say
or,
easy. It's
but
it's it's
it's
more likely
doable.
than if
It's
if it we were to die of like a heart attack,
But
like a
don't,
it's far more
blockage,
favorable.
or like
don't New
sepsis
York,
or something. But
but don't New York City subway stations like have the
they got
pads?
AEDs, yeah. But even then, like your heart did not stop because of a lethal arrhythmia, so that's not
Well,
really going to help you. You can't shock asystole. Um,
I'd
well, you
love to.
can, but it's not going to work.
I'd love to see the testimony of this, and I should have looked this up. Now I don't know if it's public or not, but again, I used to. Anyway, if you're holding somebody, if you get them in a prone position, or you're like restricting somebody, and their heart stops for crying out loud, or they pass out, you their body, you can feel that.
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah,
I'm
but
wondering if he
again,
kept like if he ever felt that, or if that other guy said, "Hey, stop," because he noticed he went limp.
Limp or something. But even then, when that happens, when you pass out, when you have your syncopal episode because of the
jerk.
oxygen not getting to the brain, your heart doesn't stop at that moment. That it you just pass out, basically.
You faint.
You faint, yeah.
Yeah.
And stay fainted, I guess,
Yeah.
until then
And
there's still no then your heart can stop.
your body might still be reacting. It might still be jerking. It might still be doing
Right,
all.
but he was in that video, that was not jerking, that was fighting.
But
Yeah,
here's
but
a
again,
question.
that's at the beginning. I'm not indicting Penny. What I'm
So,
saying is that maybe lack of experience in the situation led him to go far beyond where he needed to. I still don't think he's guilty. I think
right,
I
he's
hold on,
Yeah,
wait,
yeah.
we're not done. So,
No, I got
okay.
a question.
So
Yeah.
then, okay, go ahead.
Well, no, I mean just from a theoretical question. If I'm on the jury, here's what I would like a doctor to tell me. Okay, so 100 people, this happens 100 times, right?
Mhm.
And Neely is one of them. And it's all these other people, and it happens. You do this situation 100 times,
Are they
okay?
all on K2 and
No, no, what I'm
schizophrenic?
saying is, if
Yeah.
someone comes on there who is in really good physical shape, and again, Neely was young. He wasn't an old guy. He wasn't obese. Who knows what his comorbidities were. But if someone comes on there and they're robust, they're strong, they're otherwise healthy, and Penny does the exact same thing with the exact same pressure and all that stuff, like, does that person die too? Because if
Does that
not,
person pass out because okay, well,
in
yeah,
99
they
times out of
could.
100, if they don't die and Neely dies because he has all these other things going on in his life, how is that Penny's fault? Is my
Well,
point.
that's what I was getting at. So then you take the CPR situation, they don't revive him. They're not able to. Okay. Because and that has nothing to do with the fact that he didn't EMS wasn't there for 20 minutes and there was no
I'd like to know how
oxygen
that
able.
happens, man.
The chest compressions were in, they were going, you
Right.
know. So, I mean, I don't think that necessarily was a factor in why he wasn't able to be revived. Now, if you at what point do you say, well, but this other stuff in his system, or the sickle cell, or the schizophrenic, which doesn't even make sense,
That
but
makes no sense at all.
what are those things have effect on your heart not being able to be restarted?
Mm.
Because I'm telling you, like granted, I mean, I've been in a lot of situations where
Oh, I
people code
guarantee you, you've
a
been
lot.
top of a bed on top of the body, fucking
Going down the hall in the elevator, yes, I have.
yeah.
And I'm telling you, there's certain situations where you can just where you that is a short code. That's a one rounder or two rounder and you're done. Because the
Wow.
heart itself is not diseased or struggling or whatever, or your body is you're not experiencing acidosis situation. Like it's not, it's literally just an oxygen. Okay, well then if you can quickly restart the blood flow, typically the heart tends to respond to that.
Again,
So I mean,
optimal situation. Optimal situation is you're choked out. That's probably the best heart attack or whatever you want to call it that you can have is somebody choked you out and your body stops. Probably the most optimal CPR situation you can be in. Little thing you probably don't know, Mike, but
Yeah.
most people that get CPR die.
yeah, it's like a
Really?
yeah,
99% of them die.
yeah, it's
Maybe
like a
not that.
3% survival rate. I
Are
mean,
you kidding? That
mm-mm.
much?
Usually it's because of something massive. Again, this situation is like one of the best because the CPR is a result of a direct action that just happened. It's not the result
It's the
of
best case,
Yeah,
right?
it's not a result of
myopathy or
15
not
years of
What
myopathy.
if
heart failure
what
or
if
a heart
Neely
valve.
what
Like,
if Neely was having some sort of attack when he got on the train? What if he was
well, we
already
don't know that,
Well,
but the
that's what I was
autopsy doesn't
saying.
say it.
In
I mean,
in defense of Neely, starvation, dehydration, if those were real factors,
look,
sure.
I
And
don't
then
think
you
he
throw in
needs
the
any defense.
K2, you
Yeah.
throw in the K2 and the sickle cell, pain, dehydration, malnutrition, all these things, it might have been the perfect storm for his break. I do
yeah,
not,
but see, even the K2, I think maybe attributed to his behavior, but I
yeah,
mean,
But with those other things, that's why it
It
got
is
way up.
But
K2 gonna kill you? Is
but
K2 gonna stop your heart? I don't know.
not alone. But the thing
Like,
is, I just to be clear, just for the record, I don't I don't feel Neely needs to be defended or any because he didn't deserve to die. No one wanted him to die. He
Even
didn't do
the guy
anything
who
that
did it
deserved
said in the moment, I never wanted anybody to be hurt
he
or
and he no, I'm
something
talking about
along those.
Neely, but I'm saying Neely didn't he did not he should not have died. I mean, it was a tragedy that this guy died, in my opinion. Say what you want about him. There's a lot of people with problems. The guy should not have
No, I
died.
have
It's a
no hard
horrible,
feelings
horrible
towards.
situation.
None at all. It was a tragic situation. It was a perfect storm of bad things happening, and it resulted in the loss of one's life,
Yeah,
the potential ruining of another one's life who is simply doing what he was felt was best at the moment. This is why we have good Samaritan laws. This is why we
I
have laws that
yes.
protect people for doing what they feel is right with a non-malicious attitude.
that's the
I
thing.
get no malicious vibes off this Penny guy. Anytime you see him in the video, he's stoic, which is what the lawyers are training him to be. I'll bet he's going through some real pain.
Dude, he
Yes, but at the
probably
point
yeah,
where he
he's
just
looking at
kept on
15
hanging
years.
on for 6 minutes, that part to me is like, okay, yeah,
That's a little overboard.
involuntary manslaughter, sure.
Let me play this thing. I'm going to share my screen. This is a video I saw which was interesting where the it picks up where the police are taking care of Neely. Penny is off. I think he's either in the background or whatever. And the police officers are saying that they have a pulse, which to me is like, I mean, how? Anyway, let me.
Let me see.
Oh, where is it? Here it is. Share. Let me bring. Can you guys see this? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a big fat guy. Was he a great big fat person?
It's not playing very well. It's very, very grainy.
There, I think that's a Penny right there.
Anyway, I just wanted to show that because all
So
right.
again, I didn't see the whole resuscitation attempt, but when you do CPR, you start chest compressions. You do them for 2 minutes. After 3 minutes, you give epi. But after 2 minutes, you do pulse check. Every 2 minutes. Pulse check,
Yep.
pulse check, pulse check, pulse check.
Will you get a pulse if you're just doing compressions and their heart isn't functioning?
Well, yeah,
Is your
because I mean, in theory, yes. I mean, in theory, yeah. Because if you're pumping, if you're doing it correctly, you're pumping blood through the system.
right?
So you are going to have like a
Okay, well that's important.
pulse.
I was thinking if he had a
Maybe. I mean,
pulse, then he was alive.
but again, even if let's just say that was a 2 minute pulse check and they got a pulse. Okay,
Yeah,
hey, I have a pulse. I will also again remind you, I've been in a lot of codes.
yeah,
Just because there's not a lot of them. Again, the ones that you get a pulse and you don't have to start your CPR again are usually the ones where like this optimal case where you pass out and you had just a little bit you know
too much
too long
fun.
without oxygen and then
Yeah.
your heart stops. Those are the ones you can usually get around with 1 or 2 rounds and it usually be okay. Your heart can come back. But yeah, but that was most of the time when you get a pulse, you have to it doesn't last very long. It doesn't stick around. But
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's really CPR is last resort, probably not going to survive.
Wow, I did not know
but
that.
again,
Yeah.
but again, like I said, the reason that you usually don't the reason that you will get a pulse back and you'll lose it again is because the environment of the body is so tumultuous. Like you're acidotic, so your heart's not going to function anyway. It's just going to go and then it's going to stop again. Like or you have heart failures where your heart's just like a shit bag, and it might just like start for a couple bloop bloop, but then die. I mean,
Yeah, we
but
don't know
that's
if
not
this
this
Neely guy
situation.
had pre-existing cardio problems,
Yeah, and it doesn't say, and it
especially
doesn't
with the
say that,
medication
but
that
it
he was
also
probably
doesn't
on.
not say that. Like it doesn't say that he had a previous cardiac history at all. I'm really, 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 really curious about his
About the
medication
medications.
history
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I think that that might actually be a pretty good contributing factor. Even if, so I don't know the answer to this question, but I don't, let's just say he was off his meds, okay? And he was, I don't know, on Zyprexa maybe, or any, a myriad of
He
different,
should have been fine.
well, a myriad of different psych meds, which all maybe in combination can have that effect on your QT interval. But how long after you stop those meds? Because this seems like if he was on his med or if he was medicated, then he was off them at this time. Or maybe he was on them and the K2 caused this break. I don't know. But how long after you stop medication does your QT interval sh go back, like get shorter again? How long?
Yeah.
I mean, like I would think like, that the answer would be very simply answered by what's the half-life of the drug, but I don't know if that because that's like, I don't know how long that effect has on that effect, if that makes sense.
No, yeah.
You
Like,
know,
is it two
I
weeks? You take one Zyprexa and for 2 weeks you got a long QT interval? I don't know.
here's an
I
interesting thing. I just pulled up what medications was Jordan Neely on. And again, it's about the system that failed Jordan Neely. They're really, really trying to paint him as a victim. And yes, he died. Does that necessarily make him a victim?
or a consequence, a
Right. It's
behavioral
all I'm saying,
consequence.
like again, in all my mental patients that I talk to, I often ask them, was that the best decision you made? And more often than not, would you may not believe, they're like, no, it probably wasn't the best decision. Had this guy walked away from it and gotten off the K2, the residual effects of it and all that, he may have been the one that says, no, that wasn't my best decision. But we can't lock ourselves into, well, the ifs and the what ifs and all that stuff. Something needed to be done. More
Hmm.
lives were at stake than his. His life was the one that was causing the threat to other lives. And although I really do, and I think you guys know this, I do care about my mental health patients, and
Of course, I would hope so. Yeah.
yeah, but I'm sympathetic to his dying, but I'm more sympathetic to this 23-year-old kid who was just trying to do the right
You,
thing.
Right. But
And
so I think he did the right thing. He did initially. I think he had good intentions.
absolutely. And here's what I see happening. Much like our Redonda Vaught episode, where we were like, does she deserve to go to prison? Fuck no. Does she deserve to lose her license? I think we all kind of agreed, right? Am I wrong in that? I think we all agreed that her license, or at bare minimum, she should have to run through a gauntlet to get it
There
back.
should be restrictions at minimum, but yeah.
Yes.
yeah.
But we none of us thought she should go to prison, and in this case, he doesn't have a license to lose. So he has to lose his life if they for 15 years if they do this. So first of all, my prediction is he's gonna walk away with probably
I
probation.
don't think so.
You don't
I think he's going to
I
get
think
it.
he'll get charged with at least manslaughter. I mean, because think about it, because of the
The six
one
days
because of
is
the
the
one
problem.
thing that's the problem. When that guy was like, "Hey mate," I don't know what exactly he said, but maybe let's just say he said, "Hey mate, let up, man," or "Hey, he's getting limp," or whatever he said
Yeah.
out loud to, you know, should have like made everyone aware, like, "Oh, maybe we should," or made Daniel aware, maybe I should let go a little bit because you don't have to put someone in a chokehold for 6 minutes. You choke them out, they go to sleep, and then you let go. I mean.
But for
I
all we know, Daniel
Or
Penny
once they, or once those other dudes also started helping, maybe he could had let go on the chokehold and just maybe like, had his shoulders or his arms. You know what I mean? That was the initial subdue, but then he doesn't need to continue that particular
I
move.
would, and it may be in the testimony. I don't know how many people on that train testified during this case. Hopefully, all of them. But big question I have, if I was a juror, is I want to hear testimony from everyone else on the train because if there's 25
I
other
think that they
people on the
did. I
train,
think that there were some train
Oh,
member
I'm sure they
but
were eager to. I think
witness
but
most of the
testimony.
people that were on that train found him to be a hero.
but that's what I'm saying. If there, say there's 30 people on the train
Hmm.
and 28 out of the 30, this is other than Neely and Penny, are like, I was legit scared. This guy totally did the right thing. I mean, that's gotta weigh something because they're in the environment. Now,
Well,
if 28 out of 30 are like, dude, this Penny
here's why
guy's a
I'm offended
hothead.
that we
We were
don't have
trying
his.
to tell him to stop.
Here's why I'm offended that we don't have his military history, because we don't know if he was a combat vet.
Yeah,
Yes,
I was gonna say that too.
you know, I
Because
mean,
if it was a PTSD thing, just like we talked about last week, Zeus, with the freaking with Sarah Boone, and maybe
yeah.
it was all innocent at first, but then like she snapped, maybe. So maybe like it was all good intentions at first, but once he got that, like once he got into that,
He was
And
like,
I'm not
ah,
once he
yeah.
like,
yeah,
fight, once the fight kicked in, it like didn't stop,
like I think you're
you
gonna
know?
like last week's episode. It was really good. But
Well,
but to my point is, I'm not saying that ex-soldiers with PTSD should be able to wantonly run around and kill people in situations where they didn't necessarily need to die, but we're creating them. We are sending them over to another country to kill people they've never met, and we're training them that this is heroic. To save lives, you've got to do this. So that's why I want to know what his military history was. I want to know, was he a fucking abhorrent racist? I
But
doubt it.
also he was a Marine. So what do Marines do?
Gung ho, they're
kill
fucking
people and
killing.
break
I know,
things.
but like
Yeah.
usually like when you hear about like soldier like boots on the ground, it's like the army.
Marines.
Is it Marines? Because I
Marines,
always
Marines are the
just thought it was
first
the
in,
army.
man.
yeah,
Marines are the
Uh,
first in,
first in.
last out.
yeah,
Yeah.
but
I
aren't
mean,
they like the SEALs and the SEAL Team 6 and like
mm,
the
Nah,
they're
Marines are, again,
secret
first in,
ops and
last out. They're the ones that go in heroic, and they're the ones that leave heroic.
they can
So
do pretty much
they're made
anything.
of a
Yeah.
different thing than us.
They're
Like,
smaller groups
yeah,
than
yeah,
the army.
more
machines.
like special forces
Not
kind of
No,
deal.
I
Oh,
mean,
no,
there's,
secret shit,
I would say if you were an
no.
all military unit or Navy, Army, Air Force,
Space Force. No,
Marines are the ones that
Space
are bad.
Force.
Well, Marines are the baddest ass from go.
well, no,
Yeah,
I knew that, but like,
100%.
what do they do? Like, the
They're the
Navy
first
is in the
ones in.
They're
water,
the
the
They're
Air
the
Force is in the air, the
they're the
Army is
tip of
on the
the
ground.
spear.
Ever
They're the
see
tip of the spear.
Saving Private Ryan?
No, I don't watch
Okay.
movies.
Well, so Normandy, for instance, there's these ships and they're coming in onto the shore, and Germans are fucking firing on them, blah 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 blah. The first ones that go into that shit are Marines. They're made of a different, or they're
So the Navy takes them
No, yes,
Navy takes
because they're
there.
because
ship
there's no Marine ships.
no, they're
No,
ship based. Marines
there's
are
also no
typically
Marine planes, but they are well
yeah, there
known
are.
carriers.
Yeah,
There
I
are
thought
Marine
Marines drive like Blackhawks.
yeah, Marines have air and but a lot of times there's like there is not like if you have an aircraft carrier, there's probably like a few hundred Marines stationed on that aircraft carrier. They are part of the Navy as far as like that's where they're stationed typically
Mm.
because they are forward advance troops. They're
Yeah,
like the ones that are there at the
Marines are
beginning.
notoriously badasses, and like I said, if you go through the different ranks, I'd say Marines are tough, Army second, Navy third, Air Force. Who cares? But
Coast Guard,
They jump out of planes.
yeah. I mean,
yeah,
they're all
They
amazing.
can.
Like they're all. I'm not
I'm joking.
belittling.
That's a little military bias for me.
I got you.
But Marines are notorious badasses. They're bigger, they're tougher, they go through a harder basic training. They're just, even if they didn't start out as made with more metal than other people, they're
Look,
trained.
if you want to join the army and you aren't 4F, they'll take you if you
What's a
meet all the
4F?
requirements. Means like medical problems.
Oh.
Like
But
flat feet or
Well,
something
I
like
was
but
that.
if
gonna
you but
one thing you don't know about me, at one point in my life I was going after I graduated college, the first time I was going to join the Air Force because it was the easiest
I
branch.
could see it.
And I was gonna be an
Why would
officer, so it was gonna be double easy.
I
But I
could
didn't
see
do
it.
it.
But what I'm saying is
No
Marines,
push-ups required.
you can't just be like, I want to be a Marine and then I
they
passed
make
the
you a Marine?
you yeah, there's another level of like they have to take you. You're not you
Yeah.
can't just want to be a
If
Marine
you
and
had
you're a
Army
Marine.
going against the Marines,
You gotta like try out.
yeah,
I
well,
don't know
yeah,
if it's a
yeah.
tryout, but
There's a physical. It's called MEPS, I think, if I remember correctly. There's like this whole thing that you go through beforehand, and then their basic training is easily the toughest. A great movie if you want to see what Marine basic training is like. I want to say it's Clint Eastwood movie. I think it's called
Heartbreak Ridge.
Heartbreak Ridge. But great movie, and it gives you a real feel for how it is. Army is not weak, but as I said, as you
No, not at all.
know, Navy, they're on a boat most of the time, so they train water stuff, and I'm not knocking them. Navy is the SEALs are fucking beast, but they're a specifically trained
Those
group.
white
Well,
uniforms are pretty hot.
I
so
Sounds
I
sad.
personally think the best looking uniform is the Marine dress blues.
Their
Fuck,
blues are pretty
dude.
fucking
I
sexy
think
too.
the Space Force with those big helmets they
Wait, do they got
wear,
a
like
uniform?
Spaceballs, like dark helmet. Oh, I think yeah, well they do have uniforms.
Like besides like their breathing helmet?
Yeah, they well, listen, not
Who
to
the
be a
fuck?
I don't
yeah.
Sorry, we
think
gotta
we
get
have
back
to
on
talk
topic.
about Hunter Biden this week. I think we can save that for another.
Yeah, because yeah, my pumpkin is turning into a carriage. How does that work? Carriage turning into a pumpkin? I gotta get
You're turning
rolling.
into a pumpkin.
Quick while you're behind.
You're turning into a pumpkin.
I'm turning in.
Well,
Actually, the squirrels are eating all my pumpkins. So
here's let's just go around real fast and just what do you think is going to happen? Because the jury is deliberating. They didn't get done, so they're probably because this is like, oh, what should we? This is not cut and
They're
dry.
waiting
It's too many
for what we
nuances
think.
to it.
so is
What do
this
you
a
think?
it's a jury
Us,
trial?
Friends of Zeus is the jury. What do we
Okay,
think?
we're okay. I I think he's going to get off with no jail time.
Do you think he's going to get probation? Do you think he's going to
I
have to
don't
go
know
through
because I don't know how that works, but
raise?
I
Or
I
What do you think
don't
he's going to
think
get charged with, or if anything?
no, I think he's going to be acquitted.
Okay.
That's my guess. That's my gut feeling.
so the 6 minutes is a hard pill for me to swallow.
Hmm.
But again, 23. If we knew what his military history was, I'd have a much more insightful thought process on this.
It
But
just says that he was at Camp Lejeune in North
Camp
Carolina. He was a
Lejeune.
sergeant.
he was a sergeant.
Yeah, it said some awards he won. Corps Good Conduct Medal, Global War on Terrorism Service Medal, Global War
Yeah.
on
Right,
Terrorism
that was a
Exceptionary
hero.
Medal,
Yeah.
Humanitarian Service Medal, Sea
Okay.
Service Deployment Ribbon. Twice.
All that being said, that could lead to PTSD, but he was getting higher in rank and doing well, and it was in 4 years. Sergeant in 4 years is a
Do you got
pretty big accomplishment. Trust
I
me,
don't
my experience in the military. I didn't do my full term. I've said that before. I didn't even reach a different rank in 1 year. Sergeant is you got to go through a few ranks to get that. You got to be actually he was probably an exceptional soldier, and maybe that might lean not towards good things for him.
yeah.
But he was probably just like I'll fucking
Hold on, don't they have to go to military court after this too?
No, he's
no.
Or
not
is that only if you're in?
He's ex-military.
Okay.
and that's if you're violating
But from what
code
you
of
just
military
said,
conduct.
that dude was a straight up hero
Well,
all over the board.
one thing to remember, this is not unprecedented. I don't know if it was 8, 9, 10 years ago. I don't know if you guys remember this, but it was over in France, and there was like 3 or 4 U.S. servicemen that were on a train, and some terrorists got on there with. I mean, they were armed and they were gonna start some shit, and these dudes took them out, like not killed them, but subdued them, made put a hurting on them, and they were treated like heroes in France. They got like all these
Problem in
awards.
the U.S. right now, where
What?
I said that's a problem in the U.S. right now is people are doing heroic things and they're being ostracized from society. They're being
I want to say it was 2015.
what's that?
I want to say it was 2015.
Who is the guy in New York way back where he was shooting people?
Bernie Getz.
Bernie Getz.
Right. That's a
He
whole,
was
and
he
that's a
was
rabbit
kind,
hole.
he was kind of a monster.
That's a rabbit hole.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be an
He had
interesting.
been picked on. He had suffered previous
Yeah, Bernard.
assaults and all that stuff.
Yeah. Anyway, so here's what I think is going to happen. Much like the Redonda vault, he's not going to walk away scot-free. I think what's going to happen is he'll be exonerated. He won't. I don't think he'll see prison time. I pray he doesn't. Um, but I think he will get some form of probation. They'll probably have him do some counseling. That's where I see it ending up. What
Yeah,
about you, Jez?
I think that I think that criminal negligent homicide is not relevant in this case at all. I mean, there was nothing he was negligent on.
right.
I mean, he was acting. He was the opposite of negligent.
Yeah.
So, but I do think, and I don't, did it say involuntary or voluntary manslaughter?
It
I don't know.
was, no,
I
I
thought
got
they
the
said
sheet.
second degree murder.
No, I got the
That's what
sheet
I
right
thought
here.
too.
I
Second
saw second
degree
degree murder.
manslaughter.
No, it's not second degree murder. It is, and now let me bring it back up here. The two charges, two counts. Here's the two counts. Number one, manslaughter in the second degree. That's the most serious one.
Okay, maybe that's what
So,
I.
so yes,
The second count is criminally negligent homicide.
manslaughter in the second degree is not involuntary manslaughter.
It's not a terrible.
It means it's not premeditated.
Yeah.
So it's involuntary. I don't know why they just don't use
No,
voluntary and involuntary because second degree and first degree manslaughter and second degree it means the same thing. They just don't.
I thought
What it
first
doesn't.
degree was when you plan, you want to do it, you go and you do it.
No,
Whereas,
that's murder.
Yeah, but that's murder.
oh, murder. Yeah,
Manslaughter.
manslaughter.
Manslaughter is often accidental or
Yeah,
unintended. It's not like hiring a hitman.
Yeah, second degree manslaughter is the crime that occurs when someone unintentionally kills another person.
Like
Yeah,
you got your gun on your lap and you
because
shoot.
somebody is acting. But usually, so this would be like um like a drunk driver killing some people.
but 15 years for a 24-year-old. I mean, that's just like, God, man.
You know, honestly, I mean, it's a better sentence than a lot of people would get.
No,
He's
but
gonna be 28.
that's right in the heart of your life. I mean, that's like,
I know.
So yeah, second degree manslaughter is to me also not relevant because he didn't do it because so he wasn't acting recklessly when he
No,
was
he was sitting
doing
on a
thing.
train
He was acting in self-defense, but he
for a
it
bare
just got a
minimum
little bit
defense
carried
of
away.
others.
So he did unintentionally kill him. He did do that.
but it's not even self, it's more than self-defense. He was defending other people,
Right, but
right? I
when
mean,
the self-defense isn't really relevant here either because it's for self-defense to be actual like defense, it has to be the same like force. So he didn't do anything to anyone. So
Yeah,
like so just because he was maybe even if he was like whooping your ass, you can't stab him. I mean that's it's force for force. Like you can't do that.
yeah.
So
equal
I
and
mean
opposite
equal
reaction.
force. Yeah. So I don't know, but I do think it's so if it's just now when the jury goes these are the charges. Okay, you can't just change it. You can't say oh well, I don't think it's any of these. Let's change it to this. You can't change the charge in the jury deliberation. So if it's just the second degree manslaughter or the criminally negligent homicide, I think he's not guilty of any of those.
Yeah.
So therefore not guilty. I think
What do you think is going to happen?
I think that they I don't know. I think
Did you see the pain in her eyes just now?
I know.
I
No, because it's
really
hard to know these
but
days.
so that's just how me think therapy. I don't think any of the things presented,
And
I think he's guilty of none of those things. I think he's
here's
more
the other
guilty of
thing.
first degree manslaughter, and
But
I
if,
would find him guilty of that. But
Ow. Here's the other thing that is important and we should always keep in mind with jury trials. As we talked about this before, I was on a murder trial, and the thing you have to remember is if you're getting testimony and you're getting directions from the judge and you're trying to do your best and you're listening to the lawyers, there is like say there's 100 pieces of information in a case, right? As a jury, you may only be getting like 60 or 70% of it. There's things that aren't allowed. There's
hmm
things that are prejudicial.
hmm
There's things that
you're
when you're out of the
also
room, they talk about. So we don't know 100% with what this jury is making their decision based on. There's minutia that gets introduced. There's things that they may not know. So that's where the question comes up, you know?
you're also
like the
being delivered
meds
a
or the
message.
Yeah,
like
You're also being delivered a message by practitioners of mental.
correct. Yeah, they're not trying to
I
figure it
don't
out. They're trying to get you to think something.
exactly. They're trying to promote their frame
Right.
of mind upon you, and it really, at that point, it comes down to the one that is best at
Right.
their
Right.
stake.
It's the burden of the state to prove, without shadow of doubt. But like what I didn't watch the trial, but like what how I just wonder what their like defense was like that he it should have been, well, he just didn't do this intentionally because
Has
then
it
he
been,
would be found not guilty of either one of the charges presented.
has this trial been on TV?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I haven't
I don't
seen
think
it.
so. It
If it
wasn't
was, Des
it was
would
going
know.
on at the same time as the Lake and Riley trial.
And again,
So,
they just to for everyone out there in podcast land, today is
To our
the
listener,
third. Yeah, the 3rd of December. I think this just went to jury today,
yeah,
right?
today,
today.
deliberation is
And
today.
they
Isaiah,
are
go make
done for
people
the day.
preparation.
So, who knows?
Oh
I just
man.
don't know. It's one of those I don't that's if if the thing about jury trials also is there's emotion with it.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, again, the narrative of privileged white guy chokes out homeless black dude on the train, kills him.
Yeah, it
Like that
looks
narrative is
horrible.
like the race card is getting thrown,
Oh, the race card has been thrown in this, mainly
thrown,
by the prosecutor. I mean,
thrown.
yeah. Uh,
Like,
uh,
and so what famous case do we know when the race card was absolutely pulled out? What happened?
um, George Floyd
If the
and
glove don't fit,
oh yeah,
you
OJ, and
must
then
acquit.
the LA riots, Rodney King.
Yeah. So that's why I'm like, I think
But
that he will get, I think that they might actually find him guilty of second degree. But also, do they understand really what the difference between second and first degree are? I don't know. You would think that there would be
yeah,
some instruction in there, but
the Rodney King thing, when that happened,
And we all just get along.
all right? No, but when that happened, it was one of the first cases that was like we had video of these, I think it was 4 officers just beating the shit out of this guy on the street. I mean, he was down on the ground
mm-hmm.
and they
What
were just
about
wailing with nightsticks and everything else. And that was at the time,
I was
I
in
don't care.
Compton, bitch.
Yeah, I don't
Compton.
I don't care
straight
what
out
your
Compton?
perspective is. It's
Boom.
hard to watch. It was hard to watch that. And it was one of the first times where as a society nationwide, coast to coast, we were presented with this like video evidence of something that was happening in real time. It's just like when Reginald Denny, I can't believe I remember that guy's
That's the
name.
one. I was
He
just
got
the
pulled
guy
out
that
of the
got they
truck.
were
He and
beating the
they
shit
hit him
out of
with
him
like
with
a
bricks.
fire extinguisher or something. Yeah, I mean they
They're
like
throwing
beat the
bricks
crap
at
out
him.
of him. But the LA riots from when was that, 92 or something? I mean that was a sea change. I mean, can you imagine the LA riots happening with cell phone or with
Can you
people having
imagine it happening
photos?
today?
That's what I'm saying. Today, it's like the footage would have been bananas. All the footage we have is of helicopters. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, look, it's a horrible situation. I feel bad for Neely's parents and family and him, and no one deserved that. And I don't think Penny deserves jail time. But I don't know that guy. I mean, I don't know him. I mean, maybe Penny's like, man, I
He's
can't
going to
wait
be
to
a
kill again. Like, kill, kill,
Yeah.
kill.
Yeah, but
Like,
he
yeah,
I don't think so.
but he
I don't
had,
think so.
from what
But
Desiree just told us, he had a pretty distinguished military history of what she was
And
said
he
was
was
accurate.
standing there talking to the cops afterwards. Like he wasn't a hothead. He wasn't just, and the cops weren't
No,
throwing cuffs on him, right?
Yeah,
The
he wasn't
cop,
walking around like a meathead like,
I
oh.
all I
yeah,
can say is you guys have to appreciate the fact that getting to sergeant in 4 years
is a
isn't a
big deal.
Cool.
it's a big deal.
Big
Yeah,
deal.
Doesn't happen very frequently.
yeah.
So
Usually,
if he gets charged or if he gets found guilty of second degree manslaughter, which like I said, unfortunately I think they might do.
I think you're right.
Because I think if it was not guilty, they'd had already been done deliberating.
Yeah.
That's true. No, that's
You
very
know?
true. Well,
Because
actually,
it can't be they can't be in there talking about whether it's criminal
but
negligent homicide or manslaughter because that's a no-brainer to me.
but that
Outside of
she,
the 6 minutes, the 6 minutes really does.
That's what triggers my manslaughter brain.
Yeah.
I think I would agree with you, Des, to one point if they don't come back by tomorrow, because today when it went to jury, I did read the jury instructions that I was talking about earlier. the judge gave him that, and then after like an hour or two, the jury sent a question. They wanted clarification on that, and then it was the end
Mhm.
of the day. So I
Mhm.
think to your point, and normally, yes, if it takes that long, normally if it's not guilty, it's like that. I would say if they get to the end of tomorrow and they haven't come back, it's probably going to be guilty.
Yeah.
Does the judge
But
have
then hold on,
the
there is no minimum sentence for
There's a
second degree,
maximum,
but
I
there's no
think.
minimum for second degree manslaughter.
So it
That's what I
could
was just going to ask. Do you think that the judge could go time served,
probation. Yeah,
6 months
absolutely.
probation?
Yeah, he
Like
a
the
judge
judge
can
could,
do whatever he wants. He
I
could get
for being a 23-year-old, having murdered someone,
well,
regardless of intent, well, man,
manslaughter.
it's still murder.
Having
No,
killed
it's not.
somebody, killed somebody.
Yeah,
Let's
Not
say
it's a
that.
homicide. It's a homicide.
not intentional. Yeah, it's a homicide. It's not intentional murder. For a 23-year-old to have done that, the 6 minutes really does. It's the only part of this that bothers me. That doesn't mean I don't think he was a hero. Again, it's a very much the parallels between in this and the Rodin Vought case really ring similar in my head. Like
But
nobody intended to do anything wrong. Bad things happen. Negligence was there, but do they deserve to go to
it,
prison for an extended period of time? And that's where I land with this. So, yes, if he gets probation, maybe what we learned from the Redonda Vaught case, that's the best situation. Um, Personally, I think I'm not going to be bothered if he gets 5 years probation because he'll go through it like a
Pearl.
fucking like a hot knife through butter. If this guy is as credentialed as Desiree was saying, he's gonna walk through that. He's not. It's not even gonna phase him. I got to live like a normal human being. Oh,
yeah.
I can do that.
I
So
mean, the
I think
But
the
the
that's
prob
the best.
the only trip up I can see with that is okay, let's just say the judge thinks, well, he did attack someone on the subway. That could mean that could be an example of why he is kind of a danger to society. I'm not saying that he is. I'm just saying that maybe that
if
might
look
say,
here
you got to spend 3 years in jail or whatever. You know what I mean?
here's one
I
thing
don't
I
know.
can
I don't
guarantee,
want to
and
spend a day in jail. So you
here's
know,
what I can guarantee, and I don't even know this guy. Whether he serves time or not, if he doesn't serve time when this case is over, I guarantee he's moving out of New York. This guy's this
Yeah.
guy's going to like
Oh yeah.
Wyoming
He's going to no
or
places
something.
with subways, places with no subways.
No subways. The
go.
other thing is
He's gonna go
what?
move next door to Rittenhouse.
There you go. The other thing is, and
That
again,
was the guy's name, right?
Yeah, Kyle.
Kyle, yeah.
I do have to get going, but one thing that I found was interesting when I was just looking up this case in France,
Fuck the French.
when the U.S. service guys took out the terrorists on that train, there was testimony. One of the U.S. servicemen uh, took one of the handguns from the terrorists, and when he had the guy down, he put the gun to the back of the guy's head and pulled the trigger, and the gun jammed. He pulled it multiple times, and he wouldn't shoot.
Wow.
And then he
Huh?
threw the gun, and that came out. That came out in the court case, and they were like, no problem with that. I mean, he was intentionally attempting to kill this guy with his own gun. And the guy was testifying, like, I put the gun to the back of his head, and the gun
I'd have
jammed.
pulled it and it didn't work. It didn't work.
But to your guys' point, and I think what Zeus was saying, these were active U.S. servicemen. That's training coming into. I mean,
Right.
the military is not
God,
police.
listen,
Military is
not even
not peace
PTSD.
officers.
They are
They're
trained to
kill.
fight.
They're
It's not
trained
even
to kill.
PTSD. It's you're trained in a situation where
You took
lives
that gun away.
are in jeopardy. I wouldn't listen. Let's say I'm on the train and my kids are there, and this guy pulls out a knife, and I get the knife from him. He's
You're
probably
stabbing
gonna
them.
get a knife in the gut,
Yeah, no, 100%.
and
100%.
I won't look forward to prison time, but I sure as fuck won't regret what
Yeah.
I
No, I'm stopping that threat, period.
exactly. Worry
If
about
I
the shit
can. I'm not like some Superman, but I'm saying if I can.
Yeah, but my
I'm going to
argument
stop
maybe
that
against
threat.
that whole thing is like they are trained. Yes, they are trained, but they're not like police officers where, that whole
Right.
adrenaline thing, that the adrenaline can cause them to act some way differently. When you are a trained individual, highly like that, you are trained to think through the adrenaline.
If you're a cop.
If you're
No,
a
if you're a
cop, I'd say
policeman, if you
cops
are
are
no,
more
no, no, no,
prepared
no,
to
no, no.
not act
If you
violent.
are a military member, you
Oh,
are
oh,
trained to think through the adrenaline. So you can know, so you don't get yourself damn killed.
true,
You gotta know
true.
what's going on, no matter what other physiological processes are going on in your body. You have to do that.
And the
Yeah,
guy,
I would actually say cops are more suited for working through the adrenaline than military.
No, I
Military,
would say the opposite. No, you can't
nah, I
work
mm,
disagree. I'm
when your
ex-military.
heart rate's like beating 140 times a minute. That's gonna cause you to
man,
shoot somebody with
Yeah,
that
but
you
look,
just pulled
here's
over.
the difference. Cops are not pointed towards a hill and said, shoot until nothing shoots
yeah,
back.
I would rather be an
Cops,
army man than a cop.
yeah, I
And
would
I,
much
I
rather
am not
That's what
qualified
I'm
for
saying.
either.
That's what I'm saying. So you are more versed to be able to do the action and not act out of
yeah,
being
but the
scared.
action is kill everything in front of you.
Yeah, I know. And you're gonna do it whether because you can't be scared.
And that's
No.
where
That's thinking through the adrenaline.
I feel like we have to be more responsible for our military people that we train to be killing machines, and then when they come back and they kill somebody in a situation like this, we have to be more compassionate or more considerate of the situation that got them to it. Listen, if they let
I
this guy
don't see,
scot
I don't know,
free,
because
I'm
they're
all
trained to
about
do that.
what?
They're trained to do the things, and it's like you should be able to know when to. The other thing too is you have to know when to stop. That's what I'm saying. You have to be able to think through the whole time
Well,
your adrenaline's pumping.
you want to
Yeah, but
think of
here's the difference. If we were a computer, if the person was a computer, the military guy is the point and click. Point, click on the thing. Whereas the police officer is like, you point and then it goes, do you want to click on this? Do you want to click on that? Do
yeah,
you want
it's
to click on
so
this?
much harder to be a cop, in my
It's
opinion.
much harder to be a cop.
Now, granted, I've known some people in the military, but I've known a lot of cops, and man, I don't know how those guys should be making 150, $200,000 a year
The thing
for
I
the
about the
think you
shit they
guys are.
have
military
to
I
put
guys,
up
think you
with.
guys are not just like you're misunderstanding what I'm saying
No,
because I think we're saying the same
we're
thing.
saying the same thing. We are saying the same thing.
okay, okay. Well, you
Because
know,
Okay,
like so for example, when I code somebody, I have to be able to know what's happening the whole time. I can't be scared
yeah, I
and be aware
that's
of
a
what's
I
whole
can't
happening.
even
nother beast, though.
imagine.
You're a badass.
Yeah, well,
Desiree,
that's what
I'm
I'm
not
saying. Military people, they have to be able to think through the whole thing so they don't get themselves killed too.
Desiree. I'm not even playing around. There have been times since I've gotten to know you on this podcast where I've had a shitty day at work, and this thought has actually gone through my head. I'm like, I'm not dealing with what Desiree's dealing with. Like as shitty as my day can be, it's your good day. Like the shittiest day I have is probably your best day.
Nah, not
So
necessarily. We have
I
saves, and
You
those are
appreciate
don't
it.
even
great.
know. After the show, normally she talks to me for like an hour afterwards.
I got you. I'm just saying I have nothing but respect for what you do. I couldn't
I
do
love
it.
me some
I couldn't do
Desiree.
it.
I think we can all agree Des is the shit. I'm so glad we got her on the show.
And now that I started picking up with the rapid team, ooh, man, that's all. That's all that is. Codes,
All right,
codes, rapids,
so
rats, death.
I want to talk to you guys for a second, but off air.
Okay.
So I
Sorry,
think
yeah.
I
So
think
hopefully he
it's
doesn't get any jail time. Hopefully he doesn't get charged, but he
I
probably
yeah,
hope.
will.
Listen,
I'm gonna try and get this
I
posted
hope he
really
doesn't
quick.
get anything, but I don't think it's likely. I think he's going to walk away with probation, maybe 5 years, and I think he'll glide through it, and we'll be seeing him on talk shows and Joe Rogan and all that shit. I think he's going to be fine at the end of it. If he gets anything above probation, I'm going to be salty.
I
Yeah,
mean, who knows? Anything can happen. They acquitted fucking Casey Anthony, so
Shit, fucking
shit.
didn't Bernie Getz get away with fucking basically murder? Didn't he get away with
pretty
all of it?
much. Yeah, and he hid too.
You
He
know who
was
Bernard Getz was, Des?
No,
He was this guy back, I'm
early
like,
80s
yeah,
on a
early 80s.
subway.
He went on the
I wasn't
subway.
alive then.
He just started, shut up. And he just
But
started shooting fucking criminals. He was a vigilante. He was like
well, no,
a fucking Anthony Getz.
he was approached, but someone was like, "Hey man, nice watch." And he was like, "Blah blah 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 blah."
What do you want to
Like
steal it? Boom.
yeah, I mean, they were up to
Yeah.
no
You
good, and
like lead?
he had been a victim of crime before.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole anyway. So
Again,
listen, it's about that time. I think like
To
I
Jack
think
wrap
it's about
this
says,
up.
time we wrap
gotta
shit
wrap this up. Like wrap it up.
Zeus podcast.